Welcome back to the Tide Dream Hanger. This is Mike, and I'm coming at you with the weekly news and review for October 4th, 2020. Quite a bit of stuff going on this week. A couple of overseas shows showing off some new stuff. We got some great things to talk about. All this coming up. First up, I want to talk about a few cool things at ShowZ, and we're actually getting a little bit of more information from ShowZ about other stuff, but the Kotobukiya Sky Goldran, the Brave of Gold Goldran model kit, this is a pretty interesting item for $83.99, $84, and it's 7 inches tall, made of plastic. Of course, it is a kit, meaning it'll have to get assembled, coming out in March of 2021. It has its own look. It looks pretty cool. I like that gold. I like the look of it. I'm not sure how much of this is going to be colored or not colored, or we have to paint it, but it is pretty interesting. I do like the way this looks, and for 85 bucks and 7-inch. So if you like Big Firebird Nicey, right up that alley is the Big Firebird EX02 Windblade. Looks pretty cool. I'm pretty sure it's going to transform just like Nicey did. It's made of plastic and die cast. It's going to be 7.5 inches tall, and it's going to be coming out in September of 2021. I think that the Nicey figure looks good. I haven't got my hands on mine just yet. Hopefully it'll arrive any day now. And this is an excellent character for the Big Firebird treatment. Next, we have some official pricing from ShowZ on this Fans Toys FT10LX Soft Phoenix clear version. Okay, a couple things you need to know about this. First off, $60 deposit, $490. It's almost $500. Yes, it's quite pricey. Way more expensive than I thought it would be because it's going to be a very limited run. Very, very limited run. And it's about the same height. So it should be the exact same height, exact same dimensions. But there's a caveat. It's not being made by Fans Toys. Fans Toys will not provide any after-sale service on this product. You cannot get parts from them. So I really don't know where you get parts from, but the plastic pieces do break easily. That is pointed out on the site there. So it's pretty expensive, but if you're in for this, it's kind of cool. And lastly, we got good old Yes model with, I guess they're making another KO of their Starscream. This is the MP11 mold. Old news mold. Who cares about this mold, right? But you could get it for 77 bucks. So it's a really good price, and there's a lot of extra added detail that you really didn't get on the Takara version, and I hear these are a little more solid than the Takara version, but I'm not 100% sure about that. So rolling into some Masterpiece news, according to TF Source, they have the price and the release date of the actual Starscream, the MP52 Starscream, and it's going to be $275, and it's coming out in June of 2021. Now, it looks good, and I think they've done some good work with this figure. I don't know, $275 is way lower than everybody was expecting. I don't know what the Amazon Japan price is just yet, but I would guess like the $250 or $240 mark. It usually is a lot cheaper if you go through the Amazon Japan route. I did spend some time on Amazon Japan trying to find it. If you guys see it, please let me know, because I might pre-order it if it's cheap enough. The price isn't bad for Takara. Okay, so getting into some really cool stuff here. Moon Studio Radiatron is the G1 Raiden gray prototype. And I know a lot of people say I'm saying Raiden wrong. It's supposed to be Raiden or something, but I call it Raiden. So there it is. Anyway, this is what appears to be what Zeta was working on. So I'm not sure what's going on here. Is this the same one Zeta was working on? Is this not the same one? But it appears to be a lot like the Zeta one. Looking at that lower left leg, which is what they've already shown, looks exactly like what Zeta's shown. So anyhow, looking into this, it is G1 styled, but now there's some comparison of sizes. It doesn't look to be quite as big as any of the other Zeta combiners, so there's some question on exactly how big it is. Is it going to actually be Masterpiece? Is it going to be closer to Chug Scale? Still a lot of questions out there. Here's a colored version of the good old Trainbot combiner, and it looks cool. I'm a little surprised by the coloring. I I don't really know a whole lot about the history on this vehicle and this figure, but I know so many people are excited about it, and there's still the Takara one coming out too, which is probably why Zeta doesn't want their name associated with it. So we've got a G1 Superion in a very stylized form coming from Dream Star Toys. Now this is an actual prototype, so we're not looking at just renders, and I think it looks pretty cool. Coming from someone who likes Superion the most out of every combiner, I think it looks good. Then again, I do like mine Super G1, and we have a lot of Super G1s coming out. We have Zeta's already, who looks good as a combiner, and we have Fans Toys. So now we got this one, but it looks cool, and I really would like to know the price point on it. Let's go ahead and look at what individual bots look like on it. Now, the individual bots still look pretty cool, and they carry that whole small jet on the back. It appears, and it's a little bit different than what I would expect, but it does take a stylized route, and you start to wonder, with all of the going-ons these days, why are these companies going more stylized? It makes sense. We'll circle back to that point in a second, but the jet mode looks really good. It's really spot on. I really like the way that the jet mode looks, the alt mode looks, and then the individual bots, they look pretty good too. So at 50 centimeters, this figure is actually measuring up to be a true blue masterpiece scale combiner figure. So Yolo Park was able to show off their Optimus Prime painted version, and it looks pretty good. This has a lot of weathering, a lot of real world effects. I mean, this thing carries a huge price tag. And I hate to admit it, but I can't remember, but I know it's around the grand mark for all of this good stuff's going on. All the moving pistons and the gears and all of that. But it doesn't transform, but it's really massive, and it has a great paint job with it. It's going to be pushing, what, 32 centimeters? What's that? Somewhere around the 2 foot mark. But what else is going to be able to stand next to this? Will it going to be a standalone piece? And are you going to be dropping 1,000 or what, or 1,200? However much this thing is, I keep forgetting. For other figures in that line. But still, it's something different, and they really haven't done anything like this before. Yolo Park. So Lemon Tree is showing up their LT05 Carrot, which is a Bumblebee movie Ironhide, and their LT07 Eggplant, which is a Bumblebee movie inspired Shockwave. And the Shockwave is not Purple Potato, which is a transforming one. It's something different. Now, we don't see the alt modes of either of these just yet. This is early prototype stages, and I'm really wondering how deep they're going to go into all this Bumblebee movie stuff. And it seems like Bumblebee movie is like the next rage or the next wave of what's going to be going on in third party. Whether you like it or not, whether you love it or hate it, it's coming. So there's a Trojan Horse Studio Buffalo MPCV Dinobot. This thing is kind of interesting as they're making this bot based off of Dinobot, but it transforms into some sort of a tank. That's supposed to look like, well, maybe not a tank, Bone Crusher from the 2007 live action movie. Anyhow, this is something kind of off the wall and out there, and I don't know. What do you guys think about this? They say that this is just like Trojan Horse is making a Waspinator. Here is their Waspinator figure that they're planning to make too. So, first of all, with this Waspinator figure, it doesn't look like what I think of Waspinator from like Beast Wars. So it's one of those really stylized versions. But look at the paint. This thing looks beautiful. It's painted really well. If you're in on something like this, the paint, the premium look to it might be right up your alley. So Azure Studio, am I saying it right? Azure C Studio was at the Wonderfest this past weekend. I believe it was this weekend. Showing off a bunch of these statues. Now this is the one about Starscream, and this one looks pretty good. I'm only going to show a few of these real fast. This one is the Bludgeon, and these things are just huge. These statues just blow your mind how big they are and how detailed they are, well, and how expensive they are. This is the 6-shot, and it's not painted, and it comes with a bunch of other small vehicles around it. I don't know if those are included with this statue or if they're for other projects, but they're in this picture. But I do like Six Shot, and this looks nice. I really look forward to seeing some colored version of this. And in grayscale, there's their Windblade, which Windblade just looks great. If you're in for this character, this is an excellent statue for it. I like the look of it. I just like the way things can be perfect because it doesn't have to transform. Heck, it doesn't even have to move. So 3-0 Studio was there with their DL Deluxe War for Cybertron Optimus Prime and their Megatron. So the Optimus Prime looks pretty good. Now, the thing about this is it's still using Siege, and it's that whole chicken or the egg. The Siege figure came before the show. The show was based on the Siege. Now, this high-end figure is now going to have all of the kibble of the mainline figure that they couldn't engineer out because they put it into the show. It's funny how that happened, but it still looks pretty good the way they did it. Now, I do want to say this Megatron, I like the paint on it. I really wish more things were painted like this in the mainline or even in Masterpiece. It just looks so real. It looks that like real metal. I love it. But anyhow, he does have the lips and of course the kibble and all of that stuff. But at the end of the day, it's a pretty good looking figure. So before we get into any other stuff, I do want to talk about this past week. Everyone talking about Fans Toys possibly getting shut down due to IP infringement. And this brings up two things I want to say. Number one, I contacted Fans Toys within the past week for a replacement part. Their service after the sale is still excellent. There was nothing in their interaction that would make me think that they're shutting down anytime soon. And if they were shutting down, why would they work so hard staying on top of their service after the sale? That doesn't make any sense. That's where I stand with this. None of my pre-orders have been canceled from any of the places I have pre-orders, including ShowZ and TF Source. So with that, I still have pre-orders in with Fans Toys products. They're coming my way, so I'm not worried about that. The other thing I want to say is this brings up that whole argument about IP infringement versus KO. They are slightly different, but they can have the same end result in the end. They can have the same similar types of litigation. They could get shut down for both. If you're knocking off a product or you're copying the IP, you can have the same end result even though they are different crimes. Alright, so we've got some in-hand images of Scourge. And he looks good. He looks great. I like him. And he's supposed to be a little bit shorter than the rest, I guess. So height-wise to Megatron, that'll work. Here he is in his alt mode. That is an excellent alt mode also. So both modes look great. So what's there to complain about? I think it's a great looking figure, great looking addition, a welcomed improvement to all of the other versions that are out there. And there he is size-wise with Prime and Megatron. And we got some in-hand images of the new Soundwave. New Soundwave! No, it's the Earthrise Soundwave. The Netflix one. Let's get all this straight. Anyway, it's going to be at Walmart, I believe. But the thing about it is, it looks a lot cleaner, but the chest is a lot wider. So we could go back and forth on which one is better. I like the clean look. I like the silhouette of the War for Cybertron, the Siege. Where are we at now? We're Siege. Okay, that's Siege versus the Earthrise. I do like the look of Earthrise, but the silhouette of Siege. There we go. Now, looking at both of these, I do want to bring up, you could probably land yourself a Siege Soundwave for like $13 or something like that at Ross. So check Ross if you want to get the old Soundwave. But you're going to have to go to Walmart, I believe, to get the new one. Here's Ravage going head-to-head with the other one, so you can see the slight differences, the slight paint deco variations from the 2-pack that they had already put out in the Siege line. I have the 2-pack in the Siege line. I like it. It's good. Maybe it's not great, but it's good. I do kind of like the improvements on the new one, too. And the head is so much better on the new one than the old one for Laserbeak. So, looking at this picture here, head-to-head, beak-to-beak, they are different. They actually remolded that bad boy. So, yeah, it looks good. So we got in-hand pictures of Maverick, and there's a couple things to say. First of all, I don't really know how many people are super excited about this figure, but the paint is very lackluster. unless this is still just an extreme prototype, man, this is a very lackluster type of paint job. In my opinion, it's real bare bones with maybe a little bit of dirty wash to it. I don't know. You want bare plastic with nothing but a little bit of dirty wash. That's what's going on with it. Anyhow, it's a cool concept, a cool idea. How many more of these crossovers will they continue to do? Well, there's one that everyone wants. Could you guess the one that everybody wants? Yeah, it's Gigawatt. Gigawatt is a really cool idea, a really cool concept. The DeLorean, the transforming DeLorean that everybody's been wanting for a long time. Whether it transformed into, everyone thought it was going to be a Starscream for whatever reason back in the day. It's Gigawatt, so it's a whole thing to itself. Really cool looking alt mode. I like it. It looks good. It looks spot on. I even hear that they did some sort of swirls to it to make it look like real stainless steel, like the actual DeLorean itself. I did a review of my friend's DeLorean on my channel a while back, and so I guess I got a couple of those tidbits still fresh in my head. Anyway, here he is in his bot mode, and yes, he does look cool. I do like the way he looks. Looks like his 88 miles an hour lightning bar, his lightning rod, can attach to his arm there, so everything can be fully attachable in both modes. And here we are with the back, and you can see the open gull-wing doors, and then you can see kind of how everything transforms. Looks like a pretty simple transformation. Looks pretty simple and straightforward. A lot of fun. I mean, why would you want to get one of these figures and it be ultra complex, you know? So Super 7 is putting out some different variations on their figures. This figure of Megatron has already come out, but this is like a shiny Chrome Commander Megatron. And the thing about it is, it's available at Target. Target's getting a lot of these exclusives. I mean, if it's a Target exclusive, it almost gets the kiss of death for collectors. The kiss of death is you can't get your hands on it. But I'm really curious how this performs at retail. Like right now, you can only get these at specialty shops. But for 18 bucks at Target, I really do wonder, because I've always wanted these to be at retail, and I was really hoping at retail they could bring the price down to like 15, but I guess that's not what happened with it. Anyway, there are also another one. So this one is the Fallen Leader Optimus Prime, so Dead Optimus Prime, Sleep Mode Optimus Prime, whatever you want to call it. And so this one's going to be showing up there. I'm also hearing reports that they're getting the actual other figures too. I don't know for sure. That's just what my friends are saying. They're hearing the other figures in this last wave, or the first wave actually, are starting to show up at Target too. So I don't know. I just really think it's these two, but we'll find out. It really wouldn't make sense though to just have just these two figures on the shelves. If you see these, you'd want more, or it wouldn't make sense, right? So DNA Design is coming out with this DK19 and DK21, two different upgrade kits, both for your Scorponok, for the Titan class Hasbro Scorponok, and it really does add quite a bit of value to your figure. Here's what you can add with all these guns and stuff to your Scorpion mode. It makes it look a whole lot better. It just does enhance this figure so much. And looking at the claws, those pieces that attach to the outside of the claws, I know that this figure had a ton of little pieces when it was in the vintage line. They really didn't include all those little accessories this go around. For, you know, they only charged you $160. I guess they couldn't afford to put all the stuff in there. So DNA Design is going to go ahead and fix that up for us. And here's what all those add-on parts look like when it's in the alt mode. So that looks really good. It just looks like you're adding so much more to this base, and it is actually a base. It really doesn't look like a Transformer just doing the splits and laying back, right? It looks like a base, a real base, right? Am I right? Here are a lot of the bits and pieces with the DK21, and it looks good. Looks like there's just going to be a whole lot here that you can add to your figure, and you can do a whole lot with it. So getting into some Star Wars news, the HasLab Razor Crest is moving past the 8,000, working on the 10,000. I guess I should check. It might have hit the 10,000 by now, for all I know. But at 10,000, you unlock this Baby Yoda. It's almost a guarantee it's going to unlock this Baby Yoda, the child. And he comes with his pram. This is the vintage collection. And so if it's a little bit confusing because the Black Series one was so small that I don't know how much smaller they're going to get this thing to put it in the vintage collection. Like, how tiny will this be in Vintage Collection? Well, this is a 6x9 card back, so gives you an idea. It's 9 inches tall, 6 inches wide. There's Baby Yoda right there in the center, the child. And with the pram that I think Quill built, so pretty cool looking. I do like the shiny reflectiveness of this, and I still think all of this is just renders. Feel free to put in the comments below, what do you think the next 2 tiers of unlocking will be? Because I'm sure there's going to be at least 2, if not 3 more tiers. You know, and I've got some ideas, but I kind of want to make a fun video about what all could these other tiers be. You know, HasLab videos like usual. Before I go any further into some Star Wars news, I want to say that I've been collecting Star Wars for over 2 decades, and the past 6 months I've been putting off a rant video. They might just put me over the edge with this nonsense. This is ridiculous that they're putting out the Anakin and the Queen Amidala. I have to say, nobody wants these, and the 2 people that want these can go get them off eBay for like 20 bucks. It's not worth putting out 1,000 or 10,000 or 100,000 or however many they're going to clog up the distribution channels with these. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't want them. Nobody wants them. I have to go look and see if I even have them. Are they reissues? I don't know, because I care so little about it, and so does everybody else that I know. So it's really frustrating. Whoever's in charge of this is just dropping the ball big time. Now, we've recently seen the Tantive 4 box art, which is actually pretty cool. It looks good. It's in the Vintage Collection style, which this got me excited, thinking we were actually going to get this as our HasLab project, but I was wrong. I was dead wrong. Wrong. So anyway, this is what we get instead of a HasLab Tantive 4. We get like a tidbit tied over, which it works, I guess. It works. It's one of the better looking diorama pieces that they have made so far to date. It's a long hallway, but there's a lot of reasons why this ship is so iconic. It is where the series began, and something happens in every step of the way in Star Wars on this ship. Here's the pack-in Rebel Fleet Trooper that comes with it, which I think is cool. This is actually an army builder figure that you'd want several of. Makes a lot of sense. I don't know if you're going to be able to get it outside of buying this set, but seeing as how a lot of people will buy these for probably 2 or 3 to make an interesting diorama out of it, that would work. But on the flip side, when it comes to Vintage Collection, I actually do not like opening Vintage Collection figures at all. So I felt really stupid when Cad Bane went up for pre-order and I didn't get him. I think this is a really cool character. And I'm not even super huge into any of the Clone Wars stuff myself personally. Like, I watched the show, but the merchandise doesn't really excite me. This guy is just cool. I've got a couple of versions of him, and I still think that this is cool, and I wanted one. And guess what? It's sold out. Like, how did I miss that? Like, I look at this stuff daily. How did I miss that? Well, turns out everyone missed it, but it's still sold out. So everybody in the world missed it, but yet somehow miraculously sold out. It's interesting. I'm sure I'm going to get my hands on it. I'm not going to pay premium for it, but does look cool, though. Sorry, that Cad Bane situation almost put me over the top into wanting to go into a rant. Anyway, if you haven't seen the YouTuber Usual Mike Television, he's great. He's got a lot of really cool stuff. He does talk about rumors, sometimes gets them in hot water. I don't care. You know what? Usual Mike Television talks about rumors. Who cares? I talk about rumors too. If he says, hey, this is a rumor, this is what I believe it to be true, but it's still a rumor, and yet it's not true, well, why are people mad at him? Like, he said it was a rumor. I say, sometimes I forget to say it's a rumor, but I'm getting better at that, right? Anyhow, with this, it's hard to say this is a rumor because you have a picture of it. So we got a Scout Trooper for the Gaming Greats coming. I never heard about this. I didn't know this thing was coming. That is pretty cool. And it's a different looking Scout Trooper than the ones I have already with the speeder bike and then the archive wave. This Scout Troopers are cool. That's all I got to say. I've got a handful of them. I really like them. And I think that another one is great. But the Gaming Greats does come with a little bit extra higher price point. And according to Yakface, they've got some rumor. Now, this is rumor. All right, like I said, rumor about this Mandalorian build-up pack. And what it's going to be is going to be theoretically a reissue of the Beskar Mandalorian, and it's going to get some additional accessories, including a tracking fob, 5 Beskar egots, like little pieces of metal, like silver bars, kind of is what they look like. And it's also supposed to be getting a removable helmet. Oh, we're going to get to see his face. Great. We did see that in the series, though. And then the set's also going to include the child with a 2.0 pram, similar to what we're going to be getting with the Razor Crest, and a display stand. So a lot of really cool stuff packed in that we should have already seen. But will we ever see the original pram? The original... We're a bunch of adults here talking about the next baby carriage that's coming out. Isn't it kind of funny? I never thought we'd see the day that everybody gets excited over a baby carriage, but hey, that's the world we live in these days. So let me know what you think about this week's Weekly News and Review. What all cool stuff is going on out there? Let me know. Like, subscribe. Tadarium Hanger out.